So 5 weeks ago, I got a message on the VW app that the update to software 3.5 was available. And so I told the app, sounds like a good idea, sign me up, let's do it. And over the last 5 weeks, nothing has happened. And by the way, this is for 2022 VW ID.4 Pro S rear-wheel drive. So I've been waiting 5 weeks, and I've kind of given up thinking, well, it's just not going to happen. But yesterday, I got done with stuff and pulled off the seatbelt. This screen, of course, pops up. And up here on the upper right rather, there is a yellow bar that said Install Update. And I looked at it a little further, and it said it could take up to 3 hours. Well, where I was at that point in the day, I could not lock the car up and wait for 3 hours. So I got a few things done and said, I'll go back and try it again. So I blocked out some time, go back to a location where I could park the car for 3 hours, have something to do, and have good cell signal. Well, when I got to that location and pulled off my seatbelt, the message screen looked just like this. There was no indication of the update. So I came home and was looking around on the internet, and one of the things I found is if you go to the settings page and system information, down here in the upper or lower right, there's a display update. Well, now the update has been done, and so it's no longer showing up here. But this is where I found it. I was able to activate it here. One of the things that I saw on the internet reports was that people have been having to wait a week or two for the prompt to show up again. So since I'm in a location where there's very minimal cell service, as you can see here, just one bar of 4G, I decided to just let it install overnight. So I'd let it go for 18 hours. And this morning came back, opened up the car, and everything opened up and worked, and started it, and it drove out of the garage just fine. And I got a little message that said I need cell signals, internet service in order to finish the installation. And that took maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and boom, it said it was just fine. So just to double check, I went over here to the ID software, and sure enough, ID software 3.5. So that's been updated, and everything worked just fine. The only thing that it did in the process was it rearranged my home screen. It took it back to factory default, which I'm not really thrilled about. I don't use the nav system, the VW onboard nav system. It's fairly inadequate. So I went back and rearranged how I like my infotainment center to look. The one thing that's different is this little widget here. It's a compass rose. That's kind of fun. So it tells me what direction I'm going, and if I flip it over one, it'll tell me longitude, latitude, and elevation. So that's all kind of fun. But that's the only real difference that I've seen in terms of what's available to me as a user. The there was one other thing over here on this button, notifications. Ever since I got the car, it's been telling me that my 2G, 3G license is no longer available. And I could delete that thing all I want and still come back. Well, that's gone, so I don't worry about that anymore. Since I did start the download, the car had 2 messages that it threw at me quite a bit, all the time, actually. One was it was telling me to clean the left front sensor for radar detection of items. So I cleaned that thing, polished it, did everything I could, and that didn't seem to be the fix. Secondly, the car was telling me that the parking maneuver braking was no longer available. And actually, that's kind of fine to me. When this thing slams on the brakes and you're backing up, it can really grab your attention. And if you have a bicycle rack on the back, it seems to think you're going to run into the bicycle rack and slams on the skids. So anyhow, that message is no longer being thrown at me either. So that seemed to be something that the software download and now installation took care of. So letting this thing install overnight, 18 hours, fixed it. It's didn't change my seat settings. It didn't change my interior colors. It hasn't changed any kind of additional settings that I have preferred. It was just that it rearranged the infotainment center back to factory default. So this update's done. I can call the dealer and tell them to cancel my appointment. They seem to think it was going to, well, it's been taking them up to 2 days to get these installations or updates completed. So I can call them and tell them to cancel that appointment. Don't have to worry about that. And I think that's it. That's we got this covered. So if you get the prompt and you can't find it, go to settings and system information. You should find the prompt there, and you can get it started from there.